How's it going, guys? My name is Jimmy Champane, and thanks so much for clicking on my new Chuckdate. And before we get into the video, I know that I need a haircut. I am definitely getting one this weekend. It was announced earlier this morning on the Child's Play Twitter and Instagram accounts that Bear McCreary will be providing the score for this movie, and they also sent out a pretty cool little 1-minute video to announce it that features what I'm assuming is the main theme from the movie. Check it out. Right out of the gate, I have to say I like this theme a lot, and I'm genuinely surprised at how much I actually like it. It does get rid of that creepy child chorus from the original movie's theme, which makes it feel a little less scary, but it does have a sense of mischief that kind of pairs perfectly in my mind with a Mark Hamill voiced Chucky. I also think it was a smart move to replace the xylophone in the original theme with a kid's piano in this one. Again, it just provides such a mischievous feel, and I can totally hear this theme playing over the montage at the beginning of the movie where Chucky is being constructed in the Corp factory before he's hacked and sent off to Andy. It just sounds great. I also think it's important to point out that while it stands on its own and feels distinctly different from a lot of the music in the Child's Play franchise, it definitely feels like it fits right in with those other movies. I know that this one is trying to separate it from the original Child's Play since that franchise is still running to this day, but it's nice to see that they are paying respect to where they came from. I like that a lot, and especially when you consider that the guy who did the scores for a lot of the Child's Play movies is a guy named Joseph DeLuca, who you might know from movies like Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. It's cool that this one is standing up next to someone like that. Even if you don't recognize his name, you definitely heard music by Bear McCreary just because he's scored so many different TV shows and movies and video games. On the TV side, he did the TV show Constantine. He also did the movies Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You. And side note, his score in Happy Death Day to You is literally the only other thing in that movie that can stand up to Jessica Roth's excellent performance. And finally, last year he did the score for God of War, the reboot, which is just one of my favorite games of all time, and the score was just absolutely incredible. So he is a really good composer. Anyway, I think he was a great pick for this movie because if you take a look at where MGM started with it, they were just kind of going through their catalog and realizing horror is hot and seeing what they could turn around really quick. But what they've created, the script that they came up with, has gotten people like Aubrey Plaza and Mark Hamill to sign up, and now we have people like Bear McCreary on board, and it's just hard not to get excited. And honestly, guys, I don't think I've ever seen a movie company put out a trailer just to announce who's scoring their movie, and with all the stuff that Bear McCreary has done over the past few years, it makes sense why they would want to promote him just like they did Mark Hamill. But again, it's just a cool thing that MGM is doing here that I don't think a lot of other movie companies would ever really even think to do. And honestly, seeing them nail this stuff really gets me more excited for Neil Blomkamp's RoboCop sequel that he's working on, and of course that Poltergeist remake which was just announced today from the Russo brothers. Yeah, the guys who made Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and Civil War, and Infinity War, and Endgame, they want to make a Poltergeist remake over at MGM. They're gonna finance it themselves, I heard, and it could be pretty cool. It's cool that they're working on all these cool franchises and bringing them back. But yeah, if you want a full video on that Poltergeist remake, let me know down in the comments. That's really it for the soundtrack news, but since this is a shorter video, I thought it'd be fun if I picked out some comments from last week's Chuckdate and answered them here on camera. If you haven't heard the voice clip yet, you can definitely find it on YouTube. It leaked out of WonderCon. I'm not gonna play it here because I don't want to get my video taken down, but again, it's really easy to find. And honestly, I'm glad it kind of sounds a lot like Brad Dourif's Chucky voice, because when you consider the other options, which is basically a meaner Siri voice or a meaner Alexa voice, I'd much rather go with something we already know. You know, a meaner edge, Brad Dourif-y voice that has a little bit of a Joker twinge to it. I think that's great. First off, thanks a lot, and second, I completely agree. While I definitely prefer having 100% practical effects in my movies, when you consider that Chucky is a little kid-sized doll who has to run around and perform a lot of complex actions, it's just inevitable that they're gonna have to go with at least a little CGI, and I really appreciate the effort they put in to make sure as much of this movie could use an animatronic as possible. It's really hard to fault them for anything there. If you guys have been watching my videos for a while, you know that I was pretty skeptical about this movie when it was announced, and I still have a lot of that skepticism, but when I see names like Mark Hamill and Aubrey Plaza attached, it's really hard not to get excited. I do think it's kind of shitty that they went behind Don Mancini's back and made this without his consent, while he's still working on the original Child's Play franchise, but I have to acknowledge acknowledge when they do stuff right, and they've been doing a lot of stuff right lately. That's just the fact of the matter. I'm excited to see it now more than I have been ever, so I hope the movie's good when it comes out. But yeah, I kind of agree with you here. Anyway guys, that's it for this week's Chuckdate. If you want your comment answered in a future video, leave one down below and hit the thumbs up button. And remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Anyway guys, my name is Champane, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.